And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back for more. Folks, you're brilliant. That was a fantastic move because we have a lot more for you. It's going to be awesome. Now, why do we have so much for you? Why do we have all these awesome podcasters on here? Because this is the podcast that's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And you cracked the code again, folks. My guest today is, in fact, a podcaster. Way to go. Excellent work. Keep up. You're going to have a very, very enjoyable show today. It's going to be great. So, folks, this is the place where we come together to raise each other up. And this is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So let's make sure that we get sailing and bring in our guest today, who has, a whole bunch going on. He is the CEO of Principal Matters, a podcast production company. He's the host of 3 different podcasts, which I'm going to let him tell you all about. Walk in Victory, One Ministries Network, and Why and How Online. And he is a budding, upcoming new author with the book Internal Awakening coming out later this year. This gentleman's been very busy, and he made time for us today. Please welcome NaRon Tillman. NaRon, how you doing, man?
Thank you. How are you?
Oh, better than I deserve. I mean, absolutely, positively. So you have a ton going on. Can't wait to talk to you about all of it. Before we launch in all that, we're all kind of wondering what leads somebody into this, whole business and mess that we all do. So tell everybody, who is NaRon Tillman? What are you about? And what brings you here today, man?
Well, I am from New York City. I been in business for a number of years, several failing and successful businesses. But I got into podcasting some 6 years ago, and it was because a friend of mine, one of my business partners, Phil, forced me into podcasting. I didn't know anything about topics of influence, didn't connect it to a business. In fact, I, the early episodes were scattered all over the place
Hmm.
because I didn't really just understand how to how to target or what I really wanted to talk about. But I did know that I wanted the Walk in Victory name was perfect for whatever it would finally land to be. And wound up taking a class in podcasting and found out that we needed to hone in on topics of influence and all of those things. Got a small um, podcast deal public with Spreaker,
Ah, yeah.
who became our hosting platform. So we started out. We were paying for time through Libsyn, and we only would put enough money in when we would do 2.5, and I say 2.5, 2.5 episodes a month because you use up so much time, and if you don't use the time, it doesn't roll over to the next month. So that's when we started at, to where we had a small budget for marketing, and this happened fairly fast. So that's what made me say, okay, I may be onto something. We went, we had a small marketing budget, but we can have unlimited podcasts. So I went from being able to just
Hmm.
only do 2 podcasts a week, I mean a month, to I can do as many podcasts as I wanted to. So I said to Phil, I said, we got to really start taking this seriously. Me being one who has been coached before, found this thing during COVID, and I took the course, and it was a 3-day podcasting challenge to be a guest on the show. But I was like, even though I wasn't looking to guest. I was really, but if I can hear from a perspective of how to land a guest in the spot, then that'll make my podcast that much better. So, so the first thing that we discussed was topics of influence, having 3 topics of influence. I was like, oh, okay. So in order for my podcast to be good, I need to have 3 different conversations, right? And center the podcast around those conversations. Usually, if a person is teaching about podcasts, it's connected to a business already. Ours was unconventional, like that. There was no business connectivity. My business and what I was doing at the time was mindfulness and yoga in school systems through the company Urban Yogis, which I'm the director of. And so it was like that we didn't build a mindfulness podcast. But one of our topics of influence now is neuroscience and mindfulness. Another one is marketing, and another one is AI, because we're living in an AI age, and that the AI just changed. So, but the core of our conversation now is to speak to successful people and find their stories. We don't come up with the questions like, oh, and when did you? We really want to get to the heart of the story, and what it is that people go through. And what I found in my 400 plus episodes is that we all have bios, but that's not really the thing that we're passionate about talking about. That's
Right.
the bios kind of lists our successes, right? But then we get in a real conversation and you peel back some of the stuff. The person is usually passionate about something else that drives the company or the motivation behind it, and that's what our conversations has centered around. The really peeling back and going under the hood, so to say. So our our slogan at first was, "We sit you at the feet of the masters," and at that time it was germane to where we were, but the if your podcast long enough, you're going to go through different iterations as you continue to grow and develop. Now is, yeah, we're sitting at the feet of the masters, but we're having conversations to evolve your life.
Mm.
So now this, hey, welcome to Walking Victory. We have conversations to help you evolve your life, because sitting at the feet of the masters is like, all right, but now what am I doing at their feet? I want to evolve. So that's where, and I'm not afraid to change the thumbnails of my podcast. I'm not afraid to, all right, I don't like the way this is looking. I'm not afraid to try different things, because some people say, oh, for branding purpose, you want people to want to look the same way. And people are going to find you if you got good content. Um, I just got better at at writing descriptions because of AI. Thank God for AI. I used to pay for someone to do the descriptions and all of that stuff. And now, so this is where we come from, like the thumbnail artwork. I used to farm that out. The sound editing, I used to farm all of that stuff out. Now with AI and um, the script, shout out to the script for really building a great platform, and a little bit under $100 a month. Everything is good.
Yeah.
So
Good tools, man.
yeah. So then the One Ministries Network came about, and then I know this is a long answer, but the One Ministries Network came about during COVID, because what I realized, not only topics of influence, but I didn't want to migrate audiences, because I've been a preacher since I was 24. God willing, I'll be 50 years old in September. And what I started to do, I built an audience with Walk in Victory, and then I started preaching on that platform, because everything shut down and COVID. And I woke up and I was like, it's not fair to an audience who may not even believe in that I built a platform saying that it's going to be the one thing and I'm doing something else. So I just decided to separate the two. Um, and if someone's interested in listening to me preach, they can go there. If somebody's interested in having that business conversation, they can go there. Not to say that we don't, some guests are not Christian based and we don't get into those conversations on Walk in Victory, but that wasn't the platform for that. So we segmented the audience and we moved that over there. And the why and how online, because I deal with a lot of people in ministry and coaches, because I do yoga and stuff like that. And they're good at the craft of coaching. I mean, the craft of preaching, or they're good at building up a yoga class, and they're good at doing, but they have no digital blueprint. So we've partnered with Breath Page, um, who's they're online platforming. They do well. We do all inclusive calendars, um, websites, uh, funnel building, email marketing. You can do everything there. We take payments without charging extra, no fees to exchange the payments, and they're out of Europe, and we're becoming their representative here. We're actually in the midst of becoming their representative here in the States. So I started to talk to the CEO, and I said, well, why don't we build a podcast and build a little audience just talking about the things that me and you are discussing right now, because people need to hear this stuff. So
Sure.
we started to build the podcast because so much is happening in technology that you don't know where to go sometimes. Right. And we're not saying that we are the place to go, but what we can offer is a streamlined. All right, if you're going to use ChatGPT, then you don't need to probably use Claude and Google 5 and the next thing that's going to come out and the next thing that's going to come out and then because they all kind of are similar and some things may be better than the other, but why are you using it? And that's with a why, and how are you using it and the how. And the same thing with email, and why are we building these email lists and how can we use them effectively? So we have those conversations there. So that's all of the podcast world.
I love it. I mean, that was a great answer. I asked you about all this stuff all at once. So, the having three podcasts, I mean, cannot be easy. And I know that because I have three. So I know kind of what goes into that. Before I ask about all that though, you did drop kind of a nugget and you said that, Walk in Victory was something that was going to have to be a name. So that must have some sort of really big significance to you. Where does the Walk in Victory come from? What's behind that, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Jet, Met, and a Nick fan. We always lose. I mean,
Oh my goodness. All right.
no, what happened was I would do these morning prayers on Facebook, and I would always use hashtag Walk in Victory, hashtag Walk. And I noticed that people started to, when they would comment, they would say Walk in Victory, Walk in Victory. And when we started thinking about names for the podcast, because I mean this is our baby. The artwork may change, the uh, the way that we produce may change, but you only get a chance one shot at a name.
This is true. Yeah.
Because you can't. I mean, if you woke up tomorrow and you move from Podcasters Nation and you say, "Oh, podcasters revival," and people are like, "Well, what's going on?" I mean, in marketing, they call that the internal branding. Is how you feel when you hear a name. And when I heard, I was surprised that Walk in Victory was available
I would be
because
too. Yeah.
it's available. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it started off as a hashtag, and then I saw it was available, and I jumped on it because I felt like when I really do get this is going to be something that's changed, and because of the name, it helped me to craft the conversations that I wanted to have. Because are these conversations victorious? Like for real, you can go back. I still got them up. I was I was doing I was doing covering when Trump when Kanye went to the White House and stuff like that. That was it's all over the place.
All right.
it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't a good show,
I got you.
but I left him up. I left him up though.
Well, good for you. I mean, hey, it's content's content right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, and on that show, I mean, there's a very wide range of victory that you cover. I listened to several episodes, and I expected there to be more of maybe a theme or something, but then I realized the theme is, sort of explaining different types of victory in the world, over adversity, over yourself. I mean, it was really eclectic the way it all went together. I loved it. I really did. I mean, even that last guy, he was talking about like the way of the warrior type of thing, and I was like, wow, I didn't expect that, out of your podcast either. But you have a very unique blend of guests on that show, which is pretty cool.
Funny because someone uh, inquired about coming on the show, and then they listened to one episode, and he's like, "My show's not my my conversation is not for your audience." And they were into mindfulness and neuroscience and stuff like that. And I said, "Oh, you listened to one show?" And I and I sent them a link to the conversation I had about neuroscience and
Right.
mindfulness from and yoga with Ann Swanson and neurodivergence. And then he was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, well, I know it seems weird, but it's not weird because they're all victorious in their craft. These are
Yeah.
these are leading thought leaders. I like to have conversation with thought leaders, not just thought leaders in XYZ. I mean, I've had some very interesting guests.
You have. I mean, and honestly, that's kind of lazy on the part of that guest. You know what I mean? You never look at one episode and make a decision about a podcast. I mean, even if you just go to Spotify and flip, I mean,
Yeah,
you just the
yeah,
titles. I mean, it took me about 8 seconds to go. He's got a lot of different people on here. This is interesting. And then I looked at it a little deeper, and I was like, so what's it about? And it maybe took me 5 minutes to figure out what was going on, you know.
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, if someone is just going to listen to part of one episode and go, "Yeah, I'm out," well, you probably don't need to have them on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's funny. I don't want to use the word boast, but I say to my partners, I'm like, I can make a ham sandwich interesting. And they laugh until I had that guess that I could not find a way. I'm jabbing, I'm trying to get in there. And I'm like, well, I guess I can't make a ham sandwich interesting.
Wow, I hear you. I totally hear you. Now, I think we've all had, a guest that like either you just couldn't get to talk, or you couldn't really get to talk about something interesting, or they had a page this long of cool stuff and then didn't want to talk about any of it, right? And it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so. I mean, at this point, I mean, you've done over 500 combined episodes, with all your podcasts and stuff here. So at this point, how do you get past that? I'm curious. I mean, since it came up, let's talk about that for a second.
Well, so the easiest part is the One Ministries Network because every Sunday I preach.
Hmm.
So it's online. So I just record the message and then I turn that message into a podcast. So that's the easiest one. The hardest one is and then the why and how online is a bit easy because we just have one recording day and we knock out 3 and 4 episodes, but we already have a targeted conversation what we're going to talk about. So that's that's pretty much straightforward. We know on a Saturday between 8 and 11 o'clock, we're going to knock out this month's worth of work. That may change because as we start to iterate more content, stuff like that. One Ministries Network is going to change because the reason why I went from now that name I changed, it was the One Ministries Podcast.
Hmm.
And the reason why I changed it to One Ministries Network is because we're going to start interviewing Christian entrepreneurs
Ah,
and Christian thought leaders. And I'm going to build like a TBN style, hosting other ministries and putting their messages through the network. So we're going to kind of build out a network of pastors that I know and pastors that I don't know. Anyone who has great content that aligns with the Christian thought process. We will be a beacon of access. And we have already acquired some airspace on Amazon, so that is going
nice.
to go on to television and not just YouTube. We're going to use YouTube too and all other avenues. Um, the baby that started it all, Walk in Victory, where we have 400 episodes, I probably lost we had a corrupt file hard drive. Probably lost like 100 episodes. There's probably 100 people
Oh,
out there mad at me. Instead, like we sat down for an hour and I haven't heard my podcast.
ouch.
Yeah. So that thanks to Podmatch,
Mm.
because it was frustrating finding guests. And I joined other networks, pod connection networks, and they didn't jive with me, right? But the way that Podmatch does it, and then we're a part of the legacy team on Podmatch, and we're also a part of the Podmatch network. They're building a network of podcasters. We were one of the first 50 to come in because of the way that I think that Alex saw that we were doing our thing. But I had inboxed him one day and I said, Alex, I was really going to quit podcasting because inboxing people on Facebook, trying to get people on the show. I was being producer and like it was just real difficult. It was random. And here everything kind of streamlined and it makes it that much simpler. So
Yeah.
I found an amazing, amazing amount of guests through Podmatch. So that's what made that easier. Carving out the time um, is not really that difficult. I don't interview on weekends, and I kind of make this because I'm building it now as a production company. I kind of said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So if this is what I'm going to do, 4 days out of the week, I have a lot of time space
Hmm.
to, to devote to that. Saturdays and Sundays I try to devote to editing. And now I'm training my 11-year-old son how to edit so that he can take some of that my hands. I'm gonna pay him. Don't think I'm getting child labor and
Hmm.
not pay him,
That's your
but I'd
story,
rather
man.
pay
It's all
him
right.
for. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm
That's right.
sticking to it. I'd rather pay him than to do a service than to just give him money.
Yeah, for sure. That child labor is a great thing. It really is. I mean, there's no minimum wage.
Yeah, I know. $20, 100 videos.
Dad, I worked all day long. Here's your $10, son. Good job. Right.
See you next
So,
week.
exactly. No, that's fantastic, man. Especially, I mean, at that age, getting them involved. I mean, then they get exposed to this and maybe they turn into a podcaster or some other aspect of that particular process. That's fantastic. It really is. I love that you're doing that, bringing your kids in. So, and yeah, whether or not you pay them, that's your issue. But I love what you're doing, man, with the different podcasts here. The let me diverge just for a second because
Mhm.
one of the new things you have going is that you're an author now as well, and you wrote a book, Internal Awakening, that's coming out later this year, right? And so tell us not only, well, first tell us about the book, and then of course I'd love to know what made you want to write a book, especially after doing podcasting all this time.
Always wanted to write a book, but it was never the right time. I've started several books and I never completed. I've never completed. Uh, I started taking this AI prompting class. So I'm certified in digital marketing, email marketing, and then all this other stuff. I'm the type of person like if I get involved in something, and I had a marketing team working for me, and I knew that I wasn't getting the best bang for my buck. So I said I'm gonna take the class. So I joined digital marketing lab, and I took first email marketing and started from there. And then I realized I started with email marketing, which should have been the last thing that I took. So I had to do content writing. So I did all of the certifications. All of the certifications in a matter of like 3 months. I know my wife was so mad at me because I was spending hours and hours a day,
That's a lot of
just like,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. God, but because once I learned, I wanted to keep learning, right? So when AI started with the prompting, I was using ChatGPT and I got frustrated with it, and then I started to see videos about prompt engineering. So I'm like, well, prompt engineering. So I dove into that. I started taking classes in prompt engineering. And I was like, oh, okay. This is And then in my meditation, I have a class called the Mindful Marketer on Listenable, and I teach entrepreneurs how to use mindfulness, meditation, power thinking, forward thinking about their customers. So when we do our customer avatars, we just sit down and write. But I wanted them to sit down and think about their ideal customer, male, female, age, where they live, all of these things, and then how do you serve them? So I was meditating, and I'm thinking about prompting, and I teach yoga and mindfulness right now to seniors in one of our in Queens, New York, and I prompt them all the time. Lift your hands, hold your breath, think about this. So I'm like, oh, these are prompt tools. And when I did my meditation course at the Chopra Foundation, he talks about the, the the subconscious mind, and when we are meditating, we're giving the subconscious mind a chance to really relax, but we're also listening to the internal prompts that float in our head all the time. We have these program ideas about ourselves, rather than what we call now a worldview. So as I was looking at the prompting, and I'm like, because what I do, I teach people how to change their internal prompts. It's like, oh, what? There's something here. And internal awakening in the AI age, where we
Hmm.
where I not only show people how to prompt better to utilize ChatGPT or whatever AI that they're using, agent that they're using, but to also take that same model and prompt in your mindset.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So in the book, you're teaching the prompt or you're teaching them
Mm-hmm.
how to prompt?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yes, all the
yes.
above.
All of the
Gotcha.
above.
Okay.
All of the above. So we're
Interesting.
teaching prompting, right? But we're teaching, that's what the eternal awakening is. So one of the big things with religious people, sometimes they're afraid of technology. So I'm
Sure.
saying, all right, hey, don't be afraid of technology because this is what we do anyway. This piece of equipment is just like the subconscious mind. And it's only the output is only going to be we give it. So we give a loose prompt, write me a blog post, we're going to get a loose response. But if we give a prompt that has legs, I need you to think as a financial advisor. This is who I am. You already have all of my backstory. These are the people that I'm targeting. These are the points that I want to have about finances. The report just came out today. The more
Hmm.
in tune that we are with our prompting on our agents, the better the results. But if that works for AI, think about how we prompt ourselves. And I'm going into my pocket because I got my little prompt cheat sheet here that I carry with me if I can find it. It's supposed to be in here. And here it goes. This is my prompt. One, it says, you probably can't see it, but it says, I am in I am empowered. Two, it
Okay.
says, I am more than a conqueror. And as I open it up, it says, it reminds me, I am creating the best version of myself. And then it reminds me, I'm at peace in every area of my life. Now it gets down to the nitty gritty, because these are the things that I want to accomplish.
Hmm.
I am the host of a podcast production company that ranks in the 1% among all podcasts. I produce these podcasts throughout our company. I am grateful for making $20,000 a month to build my business and hire people to assist me in the growth. I am actively using this money to invest, pay my bills, and expand my vision. I am a speaker on huge platforms, both online and in person, being paid $8,000 to $10,000 per engagement. I'm speaking in spiritual, religious, secular settings and about business. I am actively teaching full-time in-person classes and online classes, helping CEOs and entrepreneurs gain a better sense of themselves. That's my
Nice.
internal prompt, right? And the better we get at writing our internal prompts, the subconscious mind doesn't know how to differentiate. I don't make $20,000 a month yet, but the subconscious mind is now going to give me
Right.
what I prompted to give me. The same way Claude or ChatGPT gives us what we prompted to give. And as we were developing the book, we created a couple of agents ourselves. So we have an agent, re-entry agent, that's going to be coming out. The re-entry agent is helping guys coming home from jail. I had a friend that did a long stint in prison, and he was kind of lost when he came home, technology and all that other stuff. So the agent now it helps them. Tutorials are inside of it. They ask a question, they put in their zip code. It helps them find places that are friendly to hire people who has a record. It'll help them with their resume writing.
Hmm.
Gives them all of these things. It has invested in it. Mindfulness practices, meditations that are all pre-recorded. But it also, regardless of if the person comes home and they say, "Oh, I'm a Muslim," it'll give them morning meditations centered around Muslim texts, Hindu texts, Christian texts. It doesn't matter. It's for everyone.
Wow.
And because of this big, beautiful bill that was passed, as I was thinking about doing this reentry, I was like, oh, there's going to be millions of people that has to go back to work that may have not worked in a long time. So we have this agent similar to the reentry agent, but this is the back to work agent for people that needs to understand how to resume write, how to do all of these things. So the agent is prompting. They put in their zip codes to help them say, hey, I was at home, so how can I put that on a resume? And
Hmm.
it gives them ideas to craft stuff like that. Same thing with the meditations, but the meditations are different and the conversations in both agents are different. And then we have our entrepreneurial agent, which will in it have a 3-day email marketing challenge, a 3-day funnel building challenge for entrepreneurs. So you build your funnel, it'll help you through that, help you through the email marketing, get the email so you can fully understand how to implement these things into your business. And everything is fully automated. There's a free portion of it for anyone that's just interested in tooling around, but it goes up into paid. And then if you want some of my time, of course, it costs more.
Of course. Yeah. That's fascinating, though. So, I mean, let's just cut right to the chase. How do people find out more about this and possibly look into, getting the system, hiring you, that type of thing?
Walkinvictory.me is our website. Um, and all of this stuff will be on there. And email is info@walkinvictory.me or Tillman229 @gmail. But all of this stuff will be in there, and we're going to be doing online coaching and small group coaching. But if anyone um, wants to even explore, we're going to have coaching call, uh, free half-hour calls, and all of that stuff will be right there.
Nice. I love the
That's
prompts,
how
and
I'm
I
gonna get to that $20,000 a month.
just that's where I was going. I was heading that direction. You probably knew that. But no, I love the prompts, and I understand that you have to kind of call things into existence for them to
Mhm.
come into existence. So you got to make room for them. The whole thing. Um, so you're doing that, and it sounds like you've begun monetizing though. Your podcast, Spreaker. From what I understand, has monetization capabilities. Have you
Mhm.
taken advantage of those? And then what other types of monetization have you been able to put into place? Just, if you don't mind talking about it.
Just at first, it was just the Spreaker
Hmm.
portion, and then Cozy Earth is became one of our, but that's like a someone has to make a purchase and then you get a percentage. Affiliate.
Affiliate, yeah.
So I have a few affiliates, and now I'm gonna monetize through coaching, through the book and stuff like that. I had a very interesting conversation with someone who's been in podcasting for a long time. Is like if you keep focusing trying to get the big sponsor or trying to get that may happen, but that's rare. But if you build an audience, you have to have something tangible to give. So
Right.
that's what got me. But I didn't want to force anything because I'm a Howard Stern fan, right? And one of the things that I always appreciated about him is that every week he didn't have a new pen that he was selling. He wasn't selling coffee mugs. He wasn't doing, and he would openly say that, his value to the audience was his information and entertaining and not trying to nickel and dime them. So I was like, how can I do it without trying to nickel and dime? So we do have the monetization on Spreaker. And now we're getting stuff that's of value that goes into the walking victory mindset.
Sure.
That we can now say, hey, we have these coaching courses, we have this available to you.
Excellent. Excellent. You've got three podcasts and over 500 episodes, and you got a book coming. You got a coaching program, that's coming out. Um, how do you promote all of this? What works for you and what doesn't, if you don't mind me asking?
Online, there will be a budget that will go towards the book. The reason why it's completed. I could put it out and self-publish it myself, but I'm sending it out to a publisher to see if they'll bite, and if they don't, then I'll just do it myself.
Hmm.
But because you have to have marketing dollars, right? I'm not going to just get up and say, hey, I got a book. It don't work that way. The
Right.
last people that will buy your book, listen to your podcast, support you is people that you know. You
Right.
have to build the audience.
That's so true.
You got to build an audience of people that don't know you, and then the people that know you be like, "Yeah, I knew it. I knew he could do it." Then
Yeah.
they'll buy it, right? So YouTube pennies to the is really really good at conversion. You only have to make one or two commercials. But I think what people mess up is that they try to have so many commercials. Just get one really good produced commercial, one nice landing page funnel, build your email list and work that funnel and put some money behind it and target the right people. So that's how I'm going to go about it. And each thing, the other thing is, although I'm like let's say with the book, all right, so if I'm targeting because it has aspects of Christianity in it, right? Because I use scripture for a lot of it, but it's not a Christian book. But I would my script for that audience would be different than the script for someone that is neurodivergent, that may want to look at the mindfulness piece of the writing.
Sure.
And that script would be different. And that script would be different from someone who's AI in the AI world, right? So it's not just I'm going to make one video. I have to understand that there's different audiences in that one thing that I have to speak to that audience. And I think that people mess up when they try to just make one and they say, oh, it doesn't work. Well, it's too broad.
Sure.
So speak to the audience that you desire to have, put money behind it, and keep tweaking the the content around it.
Nice. Nice. I love everything you've shared today so far. And I think people are learning something. So if they're not, they need to re-listen to this because you've thought this through pretty well. You got a lot of legs to your business here, which is awesome too. So let me get my corny question in here. It's kind of
Okay.
like my Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. Like I'll be back. I just got to get this into every episode. So, and I usually get pretty good answers. So, when it comes to doing your podcast, especially, what is it about doing your podcast that you love the most? And what is it about doing your podcast that you just absolutely throw it out the window, dislike the most?
I love meeting new people. I love having conversations. I meet people and I walk away and I'm like, wow, this person is brilliant. Or wow, this person really overcame a lot. I hate when like I use the script to record, and sometimes I have to like I'll have a piece of it'll stop, it'll freeze, and I have to try to piece it together. I hate when I have to do that. I hate when I have to fix those mistakes because it's so or and it's two hate, and then they're co-equal hate A and hate B. I've recorded a podcast, came back and listened to it, and it was like
Oh,
and I have to go back to the person and like, hey man, we're gonna have to either do it again or I'm sorry because we can't use this.
oh, those are brutal. I mean, they
Yeah.
really are. So that's pretty good. And the editing part I kind of expect, gets if we did a Family Feud style and it's like top five answers on the board, of what you hate, editing and promotion usually one and two, two and one top answers. So, but yeah, that's brutal. Um, how many times, or I guess, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you when it came to, not being able to use an episode or technology failing you, or what's your big failure story of, like, oh man, I can't believe this happened. We all have one.
Yeah, I interviewed a brilliant, brilliant lady who does book publishing. I have to reach out to her. And all of her answers came out. None of my questions.
Oh.
Well,
Well, that'd be an interesting podcast.
it was like the Pootie Tang. I was Pootie Tang here. I don't know if you watch Pootie Tang, but it's a Chris Rock, one of his bad movies. And Pootie Tang couldn't talk, and he went to record a record, and he's in the. And that was me. Like,
Yeah. What do you use? Do you use Riverside, or what goes
no,
through?
the script has a. They were first with Squadcast, and then they have their own built-in recorder. The thing is when they when they separated from Squadcast and built it in itself, it was like, hey, it's going to be bugs. So, you know,
I see.
yeah, yeah,
So you're
and
using Descript for the whole thing, the whole kit
I'm
and
using the
caboodle.
script for the whole thing. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay. I didn't realize that because you had said
yeah.
Descript a few times, but I just thought maybe it was that with something else. But yeah,
No, the
you've got the
script for the whole.
all-encompassing package. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And they've just upgraded again, and this pod match and the script saved my life.
Yeah, I understand that. I really do. The and Podmatch is great. Podmatch is really great. It's made things easier for me since I brought my podcasts on there, and I've found, maybe tell me if you found this, that the guests are just a little more serious about what they're doing.
Hmm.
Maybe I have much fewer no shows. For instance, going through Podmatch as opposed to going to the groups and talking to folks. Have you
Yeah.
found that or something similar?
Yes, very much so. And it's about a serious audience. You can reach a real some people that take podcasting seriously, but people that also take their craft seriously. So when you
Yeah,
dive into those conversations, and they're really diligent about their time, especially if they're high performers and stuff like that. They're like, hey man, it's at 10 o'clock. It's like 10:01.
right, exactly. I've had that said to me. I'm turning it on.
See?
It's taking a second, and they're like, "Hey, man, what's going on? I didn't think you were coming." It's 10:01, dude. I'm like right here. Really? But yeah, no, I know what you mean because people they're technical about that. That's not a joke. All right, Naran, I love this, man. I really do. I appreciate you sharing everything you have. Let me kind of hit you with my last question. You've given some good advice throughout this entire thing, and I mean with three podcasts and a book and a production company, everything else you have going, and your yoga, that you're teaching. Um, you got a lot of advice to give. So let me just kind of narrow it all down and see if you can come up with, maybe the best point or two, because you know too much. You may have to give me a couple answers here. But what is your best advice for podcasters who are out there who do take it seriously and who are just not quite where you are yet?
Don't stop. Don't stop. There's gonna be you're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna hit a wall. You're gonna be frustrated, but don't stop. And don't look at anyone else's mat. So when I teach yoga, I tell people the person next to you may be more flexible in certain areas in their body. Don't look at their mat and then try to compete with them. And we have too many podcasters that's looking at other people's mats, and they think that they're going to be a Shannon Sharp, or they're going to be all of the celebrities that basketball players, and all of the celebrities got a podcast now, right? Because there's something to it.
Right.
And you can't compare yourself to them. Embrace, if I have an audience of 10, work that 10. That 10 to turn into 20. Don't look at the metrics. I used to run after I did a podcast, and I run and look at the how many people listened, and I see zero. My mother not even listening. My first podcast was about her.
That's awesome.
And when I got away from the vanity metrics, Ryan Dice taught this in marketing, and it bode well with this. Get away from the vanity metrics. You may have a podcast that hits a home run. That don't mean that the next one will. Right? So get away from that. You just do it because this is what you're doing. And if you can get away from the vanity metrics of podcasting, then you'll be okay.
Right on. Right on. I love that. I love that phrase vanity metrics too. I mean, it's the perfect way to describe it all. So yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. That's beautiful.
We have over not we've been knocking on 200,000 downloads. Um,
That's
but
not bad.
that's not the first 4 years. We was centered around 10,000 downloads.
That's huge. I love you brought that up. You never know when it's going to hit. I mean, it can hit after 6 months, it can hit after 2 years, it can hit after 4 years. You just never know when it's going to hit. So you can't do it for that
Yeah,
because it's so totally out of your control. You just never know when that's going to
never
hit.
know. Never
That's
know.
beautiful.
Oh, and can I say one more thing
Of
too? This is
course,
the last thing,
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
promise you.
for sure.
Don't rely on your guests to build the audience.
Hmm. It's good advice.
Because yes, they may share it with you, but you don't say, "Oh, I got this person coming on, and they're going to help me get an audience." No, that's not their responsibility. You have to do what you have to do to build your audience,
Right.
and having a guest is not going to necessarily help you build an audience. You have to be entertaining.
Exactly. Exactly. No, it can help here and there. I mean, it's a tool to use, but again, it's just a tool. It's like every other tool. It's like any post on social media could take off, could be absolute zero. Same thing with having a guest on. You're exactly right. I'm glad you added that in. Yeah. All right. So any idea when this book's coming out? I'm just going to put, a little pressure on you now.
Uh, well, I'm putting a marketing package together to send out to the publisher. And I'm doing all of the recording because I'm going to send them the book and I'm going to send them the audio books. Let them know everything is ready to go. So if I don't, I'll give them a few weeks to get back to me. And I don't hear back from them, I'm gonna just self publish it in the fall.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
I'm
So we're
just
in like July now. So
yeah,
you're
because it's
thinking
ready to go.
for sure it's coming
September.
out this year though.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
That's
Nothing's going to stop that from happening.
that's
I
awesome.
have to have. I have to have a book.
Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. I really can't. And I love the passion you have behind it. When you do release that book and you're doing your push and stuff, give me a call. We'll have you back on here because I'd love
Thank
to
you,
help you
thank you,
promote that. I really would. I think it's great
thank you
that you're
very
doing that.
much.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
You got it. All right, folks. CEO of Principal Matters, host of Walk in Victory, One Ministries Network, Why and How Online, and soon to be author of Internal Awakening, NaRon Tillman. NaRon, thank you for coming on,
Thank you.
sharing everything you have, and just being as open and honest as you are, man. It was really great meeting you and having you on the show.
Thank you very much,
You got it.
Robbie.
Thank you. Folks, this has been another absolutely awesome episode of the Podcaster Nation. And why was it awesome? Was because this is the podcast that's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. This is the place where we showed again today that the rising tide truly raises all ships, folks. So keep sailing.